Hello, everybody. Welcome. Good to see you. Welcome to Tea Time Tuesday. Excited about you being a part of our community today. Thank you so much for logging in and connecting with us today. I'm Patrick J. Brown, Executive Director of Renewal Culture and Context here at the Renewal Center. Excited about you coming and connecting with us here for Tea Time Tuesday. If you're out there, please hashtag I am Renewal and please share and tag your friends. Give you an opportunity to go ahead and share this tea time with everyone else. Please grab your journals, grab your pen, your pencil. Let's get prepared as we're closing out Self-Improvement Month and Self-Care Month as well, as far as the awarenesses that we've been focusing on here at the Renewal Center. And again, I want to thank everyone for being here, being part of Tea Time Tuesday. And again, it is about where we pause, where we reset, and where we build resilience. How do we do that? Well, we pause collectively together. After a busy day, busy season, busy moments, we pause so that we can reset ourselves and we build resilience through our Tea Time community. And so we're excited about you being part of that today. And again, I want to encourage you to please download our mobile app here at the Renewal Center. Also, you can visit us on our social media pages at I Am Renewal as well, and including our website, www.therenewalcenters.com. So just excited about you being a part of our community. Go ahead, please tag, like, and share. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, so you can follow up with all of our Tea Time Tuesdays and connect with us and engage in our renewal practices. So just excited about you being a part of our Tea Time community. All right, Tea Timers, so good to have you. One of the things we wanted to do today was do a recap of the Tea Times that we've done here in the month of September. We've been focusing on our awarenesses for this month and wanted to bring you into that space of our awarenesses that we focused on. We focused on self-improvement this month. And so we had some Tea Time renewal practices that was focused on self-improvement. And then also we focused on self-care awareness as well. So those were the two awarenesses we emphasized this month for our renewal practices for Tea Time. And I'd like to ask you also, in reference to self-improvement, what did you improve this month? Give us one area that you concentrated on that you improved this month. And then secondly, as you're thinking through that self-improvement, what did you improve? I also want you to focus on, answer the question, how did you take care of yourself in the month of September? As we're going into the fall season, I want you to think about, what did you do to care for yourself in the month of September? Something you haven't done before, something that was healthy for you, something that brought peace, something that brought more self-care awareness for you. So again, what did you do in September from an area of self-care? And then also, what did you improve? What did you work on? What did you gain? What did you increase in terms of improvement? Because I want to review some of those areas today as well. All right. So thank you for those answers and for connecting with us in those areas as well. So I want to bring up a few renewal practices that we focused on in the month of September. But before we do that, as we is our custom, let's focus on locating ourselves. So if you can, go ahead and grab your tea and please share with us, what is your tea of choice this evening? What is your tea of choice? And as you are getting your journal and everything together, what you think about self-care and think about self-improvement. What did you do differently for your self-care? And also, what did you do to improve yourself? What did you improve this month? So we want to take a few minutes if we can and just locate yourself. So go ahead and let's get ourselves centered and grounded as we think about and reflect on our self-care awareness, but also as we reflect on self-improvement. So go ahead and position yourself, if you will, and center yourself. And let's take a few minutes, if you will, and let's locate ourselves. As you are centering yourself, just take a deep breath and breathe out. And again, breathe in, breathe out. All right. Self-care awareness, locate yourself. Self-improvement, locate yourself. Thank you so much for participating in our Locate Yourself. All right, I want to do a recap of all of our self-care awareness and self-improvement renewal practices that we focus on in the month of September. And if you've been doing and focusing on that, then you should see a significant change in how you take care of you, TCOI, take care of yourself, and also your improvement, areas of improvement. And so thank you for all your answers in your comments this evening. I like to start out with a few that I shared in the month of September. One of the key things that I talked about was how it costs to pay attention. And when we are not paying attention to ourselves, then we will not experience improvement. So it's very important that we focus on paying attention. It's going to cost us to pay attention, and it's going to cost us if we do not pay attention and have a reflective sense of self. What does it mean when you have a reflective sense of self? And how does that relate to self-improvement and also self-awareness? And again, here at the Renewal Center and for the Tea Time Tuesday, it's about pausing and resetting and building resilience. So the more you engage, the more we can build that resilience by fostering this tea time community. So we talked about at the beginning of September how it costs to pay attention and having a reflective sense of self, and the importance of not embracing why and how you feel is like putting electrical tape over the check engine light. If you know something is going on, it's important to us to address it so that we can improve and we can also care for ourselves. The second point that I mentioned as a renewal practice was your worth stays constant, even when your emotions go up and down. You say, well, Patrick, today is a down day. I struggled in business. I struggled in home. I struggled personally. Well, your worth, who you are in terms of value. And again, we're talking about self-improvement and self-care. All right. You stay constant regardless of the state of how you're feeling and what you're thinking. You remain constant in your value and in your worth. And so I kicked off this month with that in mind, how it costs to pay attention. So make sure that you're paying attention to what you need to improve and you're paying attention to what you need to care for. Also, I was focusing specifically on your awareness of you. And three areas that we emphasized this month was be aware of how you respond. How are you responding? And when you think about self-improvement, specifically, it's about being aware of how we respond in this renewal practice. How do I respond to requests? Is it negative? Am I reactionary? How am I responding to other opinions that are different and unique than mine or opposing mine? Other judgments and promises that you receive from others. How do you respond? How do we respond? And how can we improve in how we respond to others? All right. And not just how we respond to them, that they can see what's going on in your own self-talk in terms of responsiveness. Also, we talked about listening and the importance of that. So when we think about responding, self-awareness is about how am I responding to others, people that I am in connection with, people perhaps that are on my team, people that I'm working with in terms of my job and my collegial relationships, what have you. All that is important that we look at how we respond. That possibly includes your facial expressions, your body language, your tune and tone of voice, and even the stories that we tell ourselves. Number two, listening. Listening. Are you aware of how you listen? Or do we have a preconceived knowing, in our space for people? Perhaps I evaluate too quickly, or I'm not attentive, or I have a preconceived knowing. So basically, I think I know what they're going to say instead of me really dismantling my own judgment and opinions and truly listening, being very attentive to remove preconceived knowing when I'm actively listening to others. So we started out with responding, and then we talked about listening. Number three, in our awareness this month, we talked about our speaking. Now, of course, all of these are engaged in effective communication holistically. What are my mannerisms? What's my tone of voice? And you might be, well, it doesn't matter. I'm going to say what I'm going to say. Well, again, there are also results from saying whatever we want to say. So we got to watch our mannerisms. We want to be very mindful of our tone of voice, our attitudes. Are we functioning with compassion? What about expectations we place on others? Demands, or are we speaking in kindness and love, or we don't have any of those? We're not really monitoring what we're saying and how we're saying it, even in our mannerisms, in our tune and our tone, because again, sometimes we can say the right thing, but we say it the wrong way. And that's also based upon the roles that we have in lives as well. So again, let's think about being aware of our responding, being aware of our listening, and being aware of how we speak to others in terms of speaking. All right, the next thing that we talked about as we kicked off self-improvement was your awareness of you again. And as far as our automatic conclusions, do we automatically make conclusions? And this relates to responding. This relates to listening. This relates to speaking. Do we automatically reach conclusions based upon how people look or how we engage others? Or do we analyze the situation so much to the point that we miss the whole? We break it down so much, we miss the entire picture. Sometimes we analyze it to parts where there's nothing left. Be aware of that. Be aware of how you reach conclusions. Be aware of how we break down so much that we miss the whole vision or the whole message of what others might be saying to us. Okay, they want to finish their ideas, but I'm already analyzing what they're saying. Again, self-improvement in the area of listening. Also, be aware or notice the extent to which you think you already know. There are times when I think I already know, and as a result, I don't listen to someone else, perhaps. All right. Could be relationship, it could be friendship, it could be someone in a collegial team perspective. But let's be mindful, because if I say, well, I already know that, then maybe I don't know what they're saying from their perspective, or perhaps they just need to be heard. But again, all of this is part of self-improvement in the areas of our communication. Sometimes we predict how something's going to go. We think that we already know what's going to happen, or we think we already know the outcome. And as a result of that prediction, the so-called knowing, well, we cannot improve. So we need to really think through how we do that in terms of awareness. And then also, when you hold back from committing yourself because you want certainty first about something, is how it's going to turn out. So we want to see the end result instead. And so again, we know nothing in life is certain like that. We don't know what the outcomes are going to be. And so as a result, many times we hold back because we want to see the complete outcome, or we make assumptions that we know how it's going to end out. We have this whole perspective. We predict what's going to happen, or We want to be so certain in our prediction that we don't start the process of growth and expansion. So I want to ensure that we think about this from an awareness perspective. So let's pause here for a moment and let's locate ourselves in these areas about how it costs to pay attention. Or perhaps I'm thinking through, how am I listening? How am I responding? How am I speaking? And why am I doing it that way? Perhaps I need to locate myself in the area of automatically reaching conclusions, or maybe I overanalyze. I think somebody calls it the paralysis of analysis. Or perhaps I think I already know, or I predict something, how it's going to go, or I want certainty first before I commit myself and I hold back. Again, all these are areas of self-improvement and awareness. All right. So let's move on to the next one. One of our other directors, Hope Melton, she shared in her elements of self-care, started out talking about identifying emotions and expressing them. Now, one of the things we identified in this about emotional self-care is awareness of how we're feeling and knowing how to identify them. It's not enough just to say, well, I don't know how I feel. Well, we need to know why. Because when you know why, you can monitor them. Emotions are energy in motion. They're going to find some way of expression. Either it's going to be constructive or it's going to be destructive. Either way, her focus for the renewal practice was about identifying them and expressing them. What does this mean from a practical renewal practice perspective? Well, when I identify a feeling or identify an emotion, then I can adequately and effectively and in a healthy manner express them. So think about that from a self-care perspective, not just about going to a spa or going to get a massage. Yes, there are physical self-care things we need to conduct, but we're not talking about self-care from an industry perspective. We're talking about self-care and self-improvement from a practical perspective of what are you doing to identify what's going on inside of your headspace, and how are you expressing that? So it's important we identify it so that we can know how to properly express it. What are you working on in terms of identifying certain emotions? And when you do that, what happens? And it's important. So if you have a conflict, if there's a challenge that you're experiencing, identify and say, okay, here's the emotion. The emotion is anger. There it is. So here's how I'm going to express it, or here's why I'm angry. I'm beginning to understand it so that it won't control me. I can control it as far as the expression of it. That's important that we do that, especially when you're dealing with people, you're leading people, client-facing relationships, things like that. It's important to have a strong emotional regulation. Also, Hope began to talk about the importance of mental self-care and learning, being challenged, and then relaxation. So mental self-care, well, again, what are you learning and what are you unlearning? What are you learning and what are you unlearning? That's important as well. So when I ask myself, what am I learning? I want you to think about that, write it down, be very clear about what you're learning. And then not only that, what are you being challenged by so that you can grow in what you're being challenged by? You know, muscles only grow in resistance. Muscles only grow in resistance. It's the same way with learning. So that's why we want to be challenged, and then we can relax. After we've been challenged, we've worked out our minds, then we can move into a space of mental relaxation. But these are the three areas also that Hope talked about in terms of self-care during her renewal practices this month about what we're learning. I wanted to ask, what are we unlearning? Two things. What are we learning and what are we unlearning? And then how are we being challenged or stretched, or the tension of our learning, so that we can move into a place of relaxation? All right. And that means reflection on what we've learned and what we've been challenged by. So that's important that we're able to do that. So we had those renewal practices. That was an incredible time as well. Third area that Hope talked about was our physical health care. Now, what are you doing from a nutrition perspective? How are you changing in your nutrition? What's going on with your sleep patterns? All right. In other words, when are you going to bed? Are you able to take power naps? Think about your sleep patterns and ensuring that you're taking care of yourself in the area of getting the sleep you need, not really being interrupted consistently. All right. What's going on with our physical activity? If you don't have a regimen of working out physically, perhaps you work at an office and maybe it's putting it in your phone or in your Outlook calendar to stretch every 30 minutes or stretch or take a walk a certain time, or, you may need to stretch while you're sitting down at your desk, or if you're standing, all right, getting a chance to stretch, just like we do locate yourself. Pausing and resetting is also a very important part of self-care, that you're learning to move consistently. It might be stretching in the morning, stretching in the afternoon, stretching in the evening before you rest for the night. Simple things like that you can do each and every day, just to ensure that you're stretching yourself and getting a chance to breathe and getting a chance to work through any type of stress management pieces. And then hydration, of course, making sure we hydrate ourselves with lots of water on a day-to-day basis. Make sure you get what you need in physical self-care. Even if you don't have a trainer, you may not have a physical trainer or a fitness trainer, you can still watch what you're eating. You know what you need to do, right? And I'm not talking about diets as much as I'm talking about making sure that we are aware of what's going on into our bodies, and also our sleep. Sleep is impacted by how much time we spend on our digital devices before we go to bed. All right. Important areas that we got to monitor in the area of our emotional self-care, identify what's going on the inside so that we can express them in a healthy manner, focusing on our mental self-care. What are we learning? What am I unlearning? What's challenging me, and how am I documenting that challenge? And then moving into a place of relaxation and reflection. That's important. That helps you develop yourself. And then lastly, Hope talked about physical self-care. So I want to ask a question again about these areas as well. What are you doing differently about your nutrition in September? Okay. What have you done differently in terms of your sleep, in terms of your times of rest, or physical activity, or hydration areas, and really measure your growth? These are things, physical self-care, these are areas that you can measure. You can measure your nutrition. You can measure how much you're sleeping. You can measure if you're doing physical activity or not. You can measure your hydration. All right. Use your devices for that. Use your watch, your digital watch, use your phone, what have you. Do what you need to do in order for you to understand and measure and monitor your nutrition, your sleep, your physical activity, and hydration. And you know what? Whatever we don't document, it doesn't happen. And whatever we don't measure or monitor, we're not going to see movement and momentum. So it's important that we're able to do that. All right. And I also want to hone in on what Carmela had, one of our other directors, what she shared in her tea time, which was about investment. It was about investment. Now, the key thing about this particular one in terms of investment, what she focused on self-improvement month. And one of the key things about self-improvement from her perspective was about creating a return in your investment, increasing your resilience through personal development. She asked the question, when you think about the word invest, what does that mean to you? So I'll ask you that same question. When you think about the word invest, what comes to your mind when you think about the word invest? Let's think about that. What are you investing in? Who's investing in you? What investments are you making in your life? When you think about the word investment, what comes to your mind? And how can you create a return on your investment? Well, you can do that and increase that resilience, which is one of the visions of Tea Time Community, is in building resilience through personal development. And again, as part of self-improvement. Well, an area that she focused on that I'd like to recap, here are different areas that we can hone in on. And she called it tracking your milestones, monitoring it. Because whatever we measure, we're not going to have movement. When we don't monitor it, we're not going to see growth and expansion. I want you to ask yourself the question, how am I doing in these critical areas of investment? How am I doing? And again, we're talking about self-improvement. And she challenged us, Carmela challenged us in the area of how am I doing in my work-life balance, my planning, my time management? How am I doing in self-discovery? How am I doing in discovery? How am I doing in time for leisure? What am I doing to grow in my communication skills, which would include our active listening, responding, speaking? How am I doing in self-care and well-being? How am I doing in expanding knowledge, leadership skills, creativity, critically thinking, emotional intelligence, creating and managing goals? Let's sit with this for a moment as we think about self-improvement, which in Carmela's renewal practice, she talked about self-improvement, personal development, and it included some elements of self-care. So let's think about this again. Tracking your milestones. What we don't monitor, we're not going to see movement. What we don't measure, we're not going to see growth. So let's locate yourself in these areas. I'm going to bring up the locate yourself slide again. I'm going to give you a good 2 minutes, minute or two, and I want you to think about, how am I doing? Take your time with this. Think about, how am I doing? And then we'll take a moment and we'll come back in and we'll recap. All right. How am I doing? Go right ahead. As you're locating yourself, you're thinking through, how am I doing in those areas? Take some time and write it down. If you want to, feel free to put them in the comments, or you put them in your journal. You write them down and think it through. How am I doing? How'd you do? How are you doing in your work-life balance? Which areas jumped out to you the most when you think about, how am I doing? Out of the list that Carmela provided for us in terms of personal development, what jumped out to you based upon what you're seeing on the screen? Is it self-discovery, discovery? And if it is, what's the actual area that you're targeting for personal development? And hopefully you've had an opportunity to work through this in the month of September. And if not, let it overflow into the month of October. All right. So let's think about all that we shared this month: self-improvement, self-care awareness. What are your takeaways from the month of September as far as our tea time renewal practices? And if you hadn't had an opportunity, please make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can go back and listen to all of our other renewal practices for the month of September. And so based upon what the overview that I've given you today, what jumps out to you? What resonates with you? What are your takeaways? What's new? What do you need to refine? What do you need to revise? What do you need to improve and sharpen in all of these renewal practices that we've shared in the area of self-care, awareness, as well as self-improvement? Definitely want to hear from you. Let's cross-pollinate here in our environment. That's how we build resilience. We grow based upon the seeds that we plant. And so we would appreciate hearing from you, your areas of investment. Okay, what are you investing in terms of your personal development? Also in the area of your emotional self-care, the area of your mental self-care, and your physical self-care. And again, what we don't measure, we're not going to see growth. What we don't monitor, we're not going to see momentum. And then also want you to think about, again, it costs to pay attention. So when you pay attention or don't pay attention, either way, it's going to cost you. Either it's going to be increase or decrease. And so it's important that we take our time to do that. All right. So looking forward to hearing from you, your comments, your insights, your perspectives, your applications, your takeaways. Please share that here with the Tea Time community. I want to encourage you, please join us next Tuesday as we continue with our Tea Time. And again, our Tea Time is about pausing, about resetting, and about building resilience. And we're here every single Tuesday just want to remind you, on the fourth Tuesdays, it's at 7 p.m. on our fourth Tuesday. So just want to remind you of that. And then the first, second, and third Tuesdays is at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so we want to definitely have you here. We look forward to connecting with you. It's about pausing, resetting, and build resilience. Please tag and share this on your page. All right, share this with all of your friends and connect with us, please, each and every week. We look forward to you being a part. A couple of announcements as you're sharing your comments and sharing your takeaways. Please share those in the comments. I want to remind you that we do have a Renewal Center mobile app. We also have a blog. We have a Bible on it. There's prayer requests, all of our digital discipleship and new you contents there. So I want to encourage you to download the mobile app, follow us, connect with us. Also in our social media pages, we would definitely like to stay connected with you each and every week. There's something there for you. There's content there to help you grow. Also, each and every Wednesday, we have our Reforming Culture series. This year, we're teaching and studying the Kingdom of God. That's each and every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. If you've downloaded the mobile app or if you're following us on our social media, the registration is right there on our page and in our mobile app. That's each and every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. for Reforming Culture on the Kingdom of God series. We look forward to seeing you there. Also want to share with you upcoming here in October, the Women's Bible Study will be rebooting September 2024. They did not have a meeting, and so this month they will be coming up in October. So please set your calendar for Saturday, October 5th at 10 a.m. There's fellowship from 10 a.m. to 10:30, and then the Bible study begins at 10:30 with Pastor Carmela, who is teaching the Women at the Well Bible Study series. Please, you don't want to miss this. And so we're looking forward to you being a part of that as we move into this fall season. It'll be a year coming up in November. So this is exciting to see the growth and momentum. Please invite other women to attend and connect. This is specifically designed for you. We look forward to seeing you there. And of course, each and every Sunday, we want you to join us, if you will, for our next Sunday, New You Digital Discipleship. October the 6th is going to be our next one. We have canceled for the 29th because we will be at a prophetic encounter, which will be sponsored by one of our team members, Hope Melton, and her ministry, Hope Diamonds Ministry, will be in Fayetteville, Georgia. There's still time to register. So please go to hopediamondsministries.org or follow her social media, and you can register for that. Registration is still open. And the focus for her prophetic encounter is healing, identity, and deliverance, being hid in Christ. And so we want to encourage you. That is this Friday, September 27th and 28th. It is virtual and also on site. Please feel free to register and join us. And then I want to also share with you, for those of you that might need grief recovery, we have launched our grief recovery practice. All roads lead to grief recovery. We currently have our individual grief sessions that are available. So please contact us at the Renewal Center 2020 at gmail.com, or you can go to our website and you can connect with us if you need individual grief recovery. We will start our group GPS, which is grief, pain, and stress group sessions. That's going to start out at the top of 2025. So we look forward to seeing you even in those next year as well. And then lastly, I want to thank you for being a part of our community. If Tea Time has been a strength to you and a value add to you, I'd like you to consider partnering with the Renewal Center. Partnering with us in terms of our content, partner with us in what we're doing in the area of renewing minds and restoring lives and reforming culture. These are the various ways you can support and donate to the Renewal Center. We have our website, which is the renewalcenters.com/give. You can also download the mobile app and give through that on a regular basis, even there. And also you can text to give, and it'll send you a secure link to give and donate there. We have PayPal and Zelle, which is our email address, the Renewal Center 2020 at gmail.com. Also, you can cash app us at Cash Renewal Center, Cash Renewal Center, and Venmo at Renewal Center. And then you can mail a check or money order to P.O. Box 1381, Concord, North Carolina, 28026. So again, it is about us being able to focus on renewal practices, prevention practices that really helps you navigate renewing your mind and restoring your life here at the Renewal Center. And so thank you for your giving. Thank you. If this is your first time and says, I'm interested in your vision, please connect with us. Download the mobile app, and we look forward to connecting with you. And I want to thank all of you for supporting the Renewal Center and being a part of the as a renewer or a tea timer or a reformer, or you're with us as a renewer on our Sunday digital discipleship. So I just want to invite you, if you're not in a place of fellowship or connected to any ministry, we have an incredible digital community. So we're going to encourage you to attend our family and friends on the first Sunday of October, October 6th. October 6th. So we look forward to seeing you and having you be a part of that. October 6th, we will be live. We'll be logged into Zoom as well. So please connect with us, register, renewers, invite someone. We're growing, we're expanding, we're deepening our serve in the community, in our digital global community. That's global and local. And so we're here to serve you not only locally, but also serve you globally through our digital platforms. We're looking forward to being able to be a part of your life and you be a part of ours. So again, I want to thank everyone for participating in all of our tea times for the month of September. I hope that this has been a strength to you. We will see you next week. I just want to remind you again, we will not be in New You Digital Discipleship next Sunday. We will be at the Prophetic Encounter. That is Friday and Saturday, September 27th and 28th. But we will be back October 6th for our family and friends. So we look forward to seeing you here. And we look forward to engaging you. And thank you again. And as we say here at the Renewal Center, I am Renewal. Let's take care of each other. And let's go ahead and pause. And hopefully the comments are coming through. Please share with us what your takeaways have been for the recap for the month of September in the area of self-care awareness and the area of self-improvement. And let's go ahead and locate ourselves and have an incredible day. We'll see you next time. All right. And thanks for your attendance. Appreciate you and connecting. Have a good day.